Okay students, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about our topic strategies for enhancement in food production. Already we started and already we completed the first subtopic of this lesson, plant breeding. What is the need of plant breeding? Why should we go for plant breeding? How to do plant breeding? What is the steps are needed to do the plant breeding? Finally, what is the result we are getting from the plant breeding? We discussed it. Isn't right? Simply, the result of plant breeding is new cultivars. What is the result we are obtaining from the plant breeding? We are getting result from the plant breeding. Students, every time I am saying, you please follow the content and you please pay sincere attention on our lesson. So, plant breeding gives a result like new cultivars. What is the result we are obtaining from the plant breeding? That is new cultivars. Already I said, what is new cultivar? What is new cultivars? New cultivars are nothing but a new variety. What it is? A new variety. A new variety or a hybrid variety. What we are obtaining, right? Understood? So, this is the result what we are obtaining from the plant breeding, students. Understand? We follow several types of steps. Nearly 5 steps sequentially we follow. Okay, whatever the government organizations or commercial companies who are going to produce a new variety of plants, what we are calling as a new cultivars, just they have to follow 5 steps already we discussed, right? So, by using those particular result of plant breeding like new cultivars or new varieties, what is the advantage we are obtaining? We are obtaining advantage is, okay, for the purpose of, what is the purpose of plant breeding? You know, just we are getting are required or desirable characters. What finally we are getting? We are getting required or desirable characters. Desirable characters. Characters are nothing but technically we are calling, okay, traits. Desirable characters are desirable traits. Now got the students? Desirable traits. We incorporate the desirable traits into the new variety what we made. Now got the point? New variety what we made. So here the required or desirable characters are, you know, what are the required or desirable characters? We generally incorporate into the new cultivar. During the process of plant breeding, just finally we produced a new variety with the desirable characters. You know the basic desirable characters are, what are the desirable characters? High yielding. To compensate the requirement of food requires more productivity. High yielding. Understood, students? High yielding. High yielding, not only the quantity wise, this yielding compulsory shows both quantity and quality. Quantity and quality. Quantity and quality. Okay, quality of nutrients are also very important here. Understood? Quality and quantity is very important. Okay, that is the basic character or a desirable trait what we are trying to produce. The next one is, you know, what it is? Okay, high resistance. High resistance. High resistance to, okay, biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors are nothing but pathogens, okay, disease causing organisms. Pathogen is an organism which is causing diseases in another organism's body. in another organism's body which is called as host. In the host cell only, or in the host cell or host body only, the pathogens are going to be causes diseases. So pathogen is a disease causing organism. So here, okay, high resistance to biotic and abiotic factors like okay, abiotic and biotic factors. Abiotic and biotic factors. Okay, abiotic means you know very well, environmental conditions, means environmental stresses. Environmental stresses. What they are? Extreme temperature, salinity, drought conditions. Okay, what are they? They are extreme temperature. Okay, in the environment the temperature is too high, then how do those plants overcome that condition or overcome that environmental stress? Okay, extreme temperature and salinity and extreme drought conditions. Drought condition is nothing but okay, lack of water sufficiently. Lack of water sufficiently, the condition we are calling drought condition. All these three basic stresses as environmental stresses we are observing. Understood? So as abiotic factors. What about the biotic factors here? Biotic factors like living organisms which causes diseases. Living factors are living things which causes diseases, means disease causing organisms. Like what they are, you know, disease causing organisms like already we discussed now. Okay, bacterial diseases means the pathogens like bacteria, fungi and viruses and mycoplasmas, like understood. All those are the category of living components or living factors come under biotic factors. Like abiotic and biotic factors okay, are going to be controlled by the resistance or resistance ability which we incorporate into the plants. Now got the point? So two desirable characters we discussed here, and not only these, okay, here it also shows resistance towards the insect pests. What they are? Insect pests. Understood? Right? The basic characters what generally we are observing like these two, and okay, whatever the abilities they are going to enhance to overcome the adverse conditions for giving more yielding by growing well. All those are the plants, when they grow very well, very healthy, then definitely they are giving more productivity. For that productivity only the entire world is waiting, because that productivity is nothing but a food. Okay, you know, right? Decade to decade the population rate increases. So population rate increases means the requirement of food is more. The requirement of food is more, but the sources are, if it is as it is, are same, or otherwise if they are decline, where is the possibility to compensate the requirement of food by all the people in the world? It is very difficulty to compensate the requirement of food. That's why in this situation just all the people, all the scientific people, they are trying to incorporate new and hybrid yielding varieties or high yielding varieties, HYV seeds and different kinds of okay, agricultural management practices and proper irrigation, or towards the drought conditions also some plants able to survive, can overcome those adverse conditions and normally they are leading their life and giving more productivity. So such kinds of abilities we are going to incorporate by changing or alter or modify the genes which they are present in the living organisms body like plants. Understood? Or genotype we are going to change or alter little bit to incorporate the desirable characters as traits, phenotype characters what express out of the living organisms. Understood? So everything we made, we have done in the particular process is called plant breeding. Understood? Isn't right or wrong, students? Plant breeding already we discussed. So what is the purpose of plant breeding? You know very well. With this much great purposeful method and program what we have done, finally what result we are getting as a new variety or new cultivars. Then by using this, what kinds of new varieties and new cultivars are introducing into the world, okay, environment for usage of all these variety of seeds, HYV seeds, high yielding varieties of seeds, how do we use and what are the better or advantages we are obtaining from those seeds for getting more yielding, and how do they suppress the activities of pathogens, okay, and how do they suppress the diseases and disease causing organisms for growing well and giving more yielding is the matter. So by this type of methods, so many are there, of course, so many methods are introducing into the field of agriculture for getting more and more food productivity. Okay, just we supposed to take, okay, a particular program through which a person or the people in the world or in the country are trying to incorporate new methods for increasing more productivity which come from the agriculture, which come from the field of agriculture. Understood? Greenery. Agriculture is nothing but all those are the products are obtained from plants only. Plants are nothing but indicating a color that is green. Okay, so whatever the steps we have taken, whatever the steps are needed to taken by all the people in the world and in the country, understood, with the help of all the scientific approaches given by the scientists who made different kinds of contributions, okay, in the field of agriculture for increasing more productivity in the agriculture as food. So agriculture, whenever you had the term agriculture, immediately we get a color. Naturally that is green scenery we are observing because plants in the field of agriculture. So in that only, in the field of agriculture only, we brought, means the scientists had different revolutionary changes for increasing productivity and practices different kinds of methods in the field of agriculture for getting more production as food. That's why that particular, all these are the methods what we incorporate into the field of agriculture is called, ACAS through the program it is called Green Revolution. Now we are going to discuss about our, a very important topic, Green Revolution, a program through which all these are the new cultivars are introducing into the field of agriculture for getting more yielding, and what are the practices are needed, what are the practices we are obtaining from the ideas of scientists who made Green Revolution, everything we discussed. So now you please put the subheading Green Revolution. Okay, now we are focusing our concentration on the topic Green Revolution. What is Green Revolution? First it is the question, very big question, to understand about the Green Revolution. Here green indicating, this is the term, it is a term which indicating color. Here green indicating about the field of agriculture, It is the color indicating about the field of agriculture. In the field of agriculture, okay, we have different changes. And different initiative programs, the transfer technology. What actually the technology is transferred from, decade to decade. A very good transforming technology with a very good initiative changes brought into the field of agriculture. We seen for high production of food. Okay, you know what is the purpose of food, you know. The entire world is depends on the food. In many years, until now still, so many people they are suffering from food, lack of food, so scarce of food. So how can we eradicate this scarce of food, or how can we stoppage of hunger of world? Just only by introducing some initiative programs and technologies what we are adding into the field of agriculture for getting more yielding of food. What we are getting? High yielding or high productivity. High yielding or high productivity. high productivity of food, high productivity of food which compensate the requirement of food, which compensate the requirement of food in the world. Whatever the technologies we are adding, just we brought a very big okay program, what they have done in the field of agriculture, that is a revolutionary changes. Okay, and it is the third okay agricultural revolution, third agricultural revolution, where we set up all the new and initiative programs for getting more yielding of food. So here whatever the methods we are doing here, you better to follow to understand the introduction of initiatives in the field of agriculture through the program Green Revolution. Here just we introducing introduction of HYV seeds, simply HYV seeds. What is HYV? High yielding varieties. How we are obtaining high yielding varieties? You know very well. How we obtain these HYV seeds? How we obtain these HYV seeds? Just we obtain these HYV seeds. How we obtain these HYV seeds, ma? We obtain by the process of plant breeding, what already we discussed. Plant breeding. Okay, like that, such kinds of processes and programs are producing these particular seeds like high yielding varieties, HYV seeds. These HYV seeds introducing as a revolutionary change in the field of agriculture. Understood? That is we are calling green revolution, you know. Right, ma? So, and also here they are using usage of, they are giving proper idea about the usage of chemical fertilizers. Of course, chemical fertilizers are very dangerous to environment, but in those days where the requirement of food is needed, then what is the application, what is the systematic applications of chemical fertilizers used by the Green Revolution program? Used in the program of Green Revolution, usage of chemical fertilizers, and also okay high yielding varieties they introduced, and usage of chemical fertilizers they are introduced, and a proper irrigation methods they are following. Okay, irrigation methods, proper irrigation methods they follow. All these are the three different kinds of three different levels of initiative programs they introducing into the program, that is Green Revolution, through which we are getting high yielding. Now got the point? Okay, this Green Revolution program is initiated in between the period of time 1950s to 1960s. Okay, this is the period of time where the more and rapid changes of Green Revolution is taking place. Green Revolution is taking place. Understood? In that particular period of time, a great scientist as personality in the world who always trying to search for eradicate or remove or erase the hunger of world. Understood? Or world of hunger, who are going to suffering from hunger. Understood? Or scarce of food, much scarce of food in the world, you know. Okay, a particular scientist who always, agronomist, especially he was an agronomist from America. Okay, that scientist always hypothesized about the how can we stop the scarce of food in the world, how can we increase the food productivity to compensate the requirement of food. So like that he was the scientist who saves so many crores of people and their lives from food scarce by introducing modern methods and techniques into the program Green Revolution, through which all the people are going to utilize the opportunities as modern techniques in the field of agriculture, through which we are getting to reach the required food level, through which that particular food production is going to compensate the requirement of food in all the people. Though we are reaching that much level, though still so many people are suffering from food scarce due to lack of proper cultivated land and not increasing acreage in the world, Understand? Though we have modern methods and techniques what are given, some ideas by those particular scientists. Here the first scientist we must talk about the Green Revolution, who initiated the program in between 1950 and 1960. That scientist name is Dr. Norman E. Borlaug. Norman Ernest Borlaug. Norman Ernest Borlaug. Once you please, all of you, repeat the term. What is the scientist name? Dr. Norman E. Borlaug. Actually, his nationality is American. But he done all the experiments in. He came from he born in America. His nationality is America, but he done all the experiments in the country Mexico. Where? Mexico. In the Mexico, in one center he done all the experiments. The experiments what they very much helped to the field of agriculture, through which ideas given by the Norman E. Borlaug, entire world and entire people in the world from different countries utilize those technologies and modern methods in the field of agriculture as the program of Green Revolution, through which maximum level of food productivity we obtained. Understood? And maximum food scarce is going to be decreased. Understood? So that is a great personality as scientist, Norman Ernest Borlaug. In the country Mexico, just he done all the experiments in one center, that is International Center for Wheat and Maize. International Center for Wheat and Maize Improvement. International Center for Wheat and Maize Improvement in Mexico. In the Mexico, that scientist first done all the activities to fulfill his hypothesis. What hypothesis? He is always trying to produce new varieties, new strains, introducing new HYV seeds into the field of agriculture. How can we reach that particular hypothesis what he had? By implementing so many genetic strains and that particular modifications what he done in the local varieties are desi varieties of, especially in the wheat. The scientist Norman E. Borlaug done everything, especially first time in in this particular institution, he done first semi-dwarf wheat. What it is? Semi-dwarf wheat he introduced. Understood? You know wheat, how much importance as food we are using, right? So in that particular variety of crop like wheat only, he introduced a very new variety. Until that particular new variety like semi-dwarf wheat, no a proper variety of wheat which brings much food productivity. Understood? That's why in the particular crop variety like wheat only, that great scientist like Dr. Norman Ernest Borlaug introduced a new variety as HYV seeds like semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Semi-dwarf wheat first time. In the center, what it is, International Center for Wheat and Maize Improvement in Mexico. Through the center only, he declared a new variety of wheat, that is semi-dwarf wheat, okay, which is going to show two desirable characters like high yielding and high resistance. High yielding and high resistance genes he introduced. He introduced into the variety of crop like wheat. Understood? Semi-dwarf wheat. Later, so many they are produced in some other crops like semi-dwarf rice and high yielding sugarcane and different kinds of genes they introducing into the millets. Millets are the very smaller granular cereals like structures which they are giving more food productivity. The granules, the seeds size is very less, smaller particles, but their quantity is very large. But before Green Revolution, these millets are not able to give more yielding due to lack of water. But now a new strain they are introducing into the field of agriculture through the Green Revolution is as a new variety of millets they are producing. Millets are of three different categories of plants, crops. What they are? Maize, jowar, bajra. Maize, jowar, bajra. In these three varieties of cultivated crops, they are introducing a new gene which can overtake or overcome drought conditions. Understood? Water lagging conditions. Though they haven't proper supplement of water. Water loss or very less amount of water, they can easily to overcome the less water conditions and grow very healthy and give more yielding. Now got the point? In all the three different crops like jowar, bajra and maize. Maize means corn. Jowar means what it is, second crop, what generally, and millets. They are very much important for making some rotis and some other food products we are getting, right? So like that, all these are the varieties also they introduced. So this is the semi-dwarf wheat first time given by Norman E. Borlaug. What is the desire? Basically he had very big desire to compensate the requirement of food or give the sufficient food to entire people. We have to erase the hunger of all the people in the world. That is for that extraordinary hypothesis what he had and reached maximum to compensate the requirement of food and giving sufficient food to entire people, and he saves so many lives of people, crores of people in the world they save from the modern methods and techniques first given by the scientist Norman Ernest Borlaug through the program Green Revolution into the field of agriculture. That's why for that extraordinary work only the great scientist got Nobel Prize in peace. He got Nobel Prize in peace. I got the point. Understood, students? So that is the extraordinary information what we are discussing about Norman E. Borlaug. Next we continue this topic. You please tune to this topic. So the great scientist Dr. Norman Ernest Borlaug got Nobel Prize in Peace in the year 1970. Understood? Basically, he was an agronomist. The scientist Norman E. Borlaug was an agronomist. Agronomist. He had very much interest on agronomy. Agronomy means field of agriculture. How should we increase acreage of land? How should we increase crop productivity in the world? Understood? Every time that scientist thought about the giving proper food products and food to all the people in the world. Understood? That much ideas and thought because of that scientist got Nobel Prize in peace. Why he got a Nobel Prize in peace? He done all the experiments and everything in the field of agriculture, not green revolution. Because that scientist believe one thing, that is, okay, no person build peace without food. That is the idea, that is the a basic important motto followed by the scientist Norman E. Borlaug. Okay, that scientist Norman Borlaug said as okay, person can't build peace in the world with empty stomach. You please note down that scientist, for why he got Nobel Prize. See here, that scientist got Nobel Prize in peace means what it is, that scientist believe one thing, that is a person, note down student, person can't build peace with empty stomach. Empty stomach. What is the idea hide inside this statement? Try to focus. All of you look into this statement. Person can't build peace with an empty stomach in the world. So, to follow each and every person in the world as just we maintain peace. Everybody, it is very much needed, followed by everyone. Understood? We should follow to maintain peace. Everybody should give a proper positive responses, positive attitude towards others. Understood? That is nothing but peace. To maintain peace, everybody should take right and appropriate food. When we have sufficient food in our stomach, then we thought everything properly, positively, without any other negative attitudes. Now you got the point. So that scientist thought that every person only build peace in the world with the sufficient food what they have taken. Understood? So here what statement given by the scientist Norman E. Borlaug? Person can't build peace with an empty stomach. So we have to give proper food to fill up the stomach. Then all the people, they are focusing on the peace how we are going to maintain in the world. Understood? So for that extraordinary statement given by the scientist and followed by the scientist, statement not only given by the scientist, he followed that to satisfy that statement, just he provided food sufficiently to entire people in the world through the program Green Revolution. That's why that for that extraordinary program what done by the scientist Norman E. Borlaug, he got Nobel Prize in the year 1970 in peace. Understood, students? So he was the scientist who first introduced that particular green revolution in the world, and how it is very much beneficial to the country India, because we are Indians, how it is very much useful to all the countries in the world, and how we also benefited with that programs, and who first brought that particular programs and ideas and thoughts of Norman E. Borlaug into the India. Everything we discussed. Understood, students? In the next coming continuation of this class, we better to discuss about that particular innovations what made in the country India through the program Green Revolution by a great personality as scientist in India. Who is he? M.S. Swaminathan. Who is he? M.S. Swaminathan. Mankabbu Sambasivan Swaminathan, who formerly known as the father of Green Revolution in India. Understood? But Norman E. Borlaug, formerly known as the father of Green Revolution. He is not father of Green Revolution in India or in some other countries. He entire world. He was the father of Green Revolution. So father of Green Revolution. Whatever the question they may ask, easy as who is the father of Green Revolution? Then simply you can say Dr. Norman E. Borlaug. Understood? He was the father of Green Revolution. His lifetime is he was born on 1914 and he died in 2009. You got the point, students? This is the lifetime of the great scientist like Dr. Norman Ernest Borlaug. Understood? And he was formerly known as the father of Green Revolution. Understood, students? Okay, let's we continue that topic, Green Revolution, how it is implemented some programs in India. Understood? Okay, Green Revolution in India. Before going to discuss about Green Revolution in India, we better to discuss about the history of India. India is, note some important points, students. India is mainly, you know all, mainly agricultural country. India is mainly agricultural country. You know, students, India is mainly agricultural country means in these people, in the country, India, okay, maximum people just they have a profession that is agriculture. Understood? Maximum people. So that's why India is mainly agricultural country. Nearly the GDP of gross domestic product of India, nearly 33% is only obtained from the field of agriculture. Okay, agriculture is a field which is okay, contributes 33% of GDP in India. Understood? And nearly the employment of agriculture, in the agriculture field of agriculture, the employment nearly about people 62% of the Indian people are only have employment under the field of agriculture. Understood? Nearly it gives, this is the agriculture, this is the field of agriculture in India, gives opportunities as employment for nearly people 62% okay, in the total population of India. Okay, in the total population of India, 62% of the people they just only have employment under the field of agriculture. Understood? And dear students, you know, after the independence, okay, India is in the condition it is not provide sufficient food to all the people in the country. Understood? It has a very big challenge. It has a very big task to strive or overcome that condition, that is lack of food sources. But in those days, the Indian people and Indian scientists, they strive very much to overcome the condition like food scarce which is there in the India. Okay, no person is having enough food. Understood? So in those days, the great scientists like M.S. Swaminathan, Mankombu Sambasivan Swaminathan from Tamil Nadu, a great personality as one of the scientists in our country. We feel proud to have such a great scientist in those days who one of the not one of the very great and first prime scientist who brought Green Revolution and the ideas of Green Revolution, okay, from the world, what already in which already that Green Revolution programs are implemented. Okay, so he was the scientist M.S. Swaminathan collaborate with Norman E. Borlaug, and he already what the ideas culminated in the world, in the environment, that ideas culminated ideas means very strong ideas what already built by the Norman E. Borlaug are going to collaborated and take those ideas and take those varieties of seeds brought from other countries or brought from the Norman E. Borlaug into the India, and he introduced new varieties of crops in India and enhance the food productivity in the field of agriculture in the India by the scientist M.S. Swaminathan. That's why that M.S. Swaminathan, formerly known as the father of Green Revolution in India. Understood, students? Understand? So India is mainly agriculture. Write a few lines about this okay, history of India and importance of agriculture in India. India is mainly agricultural country and okay, it contributes, note down, it contributes 33% of okay, GDP, 33% of GDP GDP in India. In India, GDP 33% is only obtained from agriculture. Understood? And it provide employment, and it provide 62% of employment in the total population. Okay, nearly up to, not exactly, nearly up to 62% of employment it is provided in the total population in India. Understand? Okay, after the independence it is facing a challenge in food production. Okay, every time the rate of population increases, but there is no increase in food productivity. In that situation only, in the mid 1960s, introduced and take up the ideas and introduce them into India by a great scientist who formerly known as the father of Green Revolution in India, M.S. Swaminathan. Mankombu Sambasivan Swaminathan from Tamil Nadu. Understood? And he collaborate with that Norman E. Borlaug, and what ideas already culminated in the world are brought by the scientists into India, and to increase the agricultural productivity by using new varieties, new HYV seeds. Understood, students? Understand, students? So that great personality like M.S. Swaminathan, okay, and his lifetime is yes, he was born in, not lifetime, he was born on 1925. Okay, still he is doing so many works on the field of agriculture. Okay, the great scientist, still he is doing so many ideas incorporated into the field of agriculture. Okay, so that scientist, what actually the new varieties, new HYV seeds brought from other countries to India to incorporate those ideas of a green revolution for increasing more yielding in the field of agriculture, for compensate the requirement of food to all the people in the country. Understood, students? So that great personality like M.S. Swaminathan, formerly known as the father of Green Revolution in India. Okay, in India, after the independence, we have very limited land is only fit for cultivation. In that extreme conditions also, that great personality like M.S. Swaminathan, okay, increase the land, it turn into fit for agriculture or cultivation, and for giving more productivity or high productivity. So before going to discuss about that Norman E. Borlaug, what are the first semi-dwarf varieties in wheat and some other varieties what they made and how we utilize them for implementing and improving some other varieties in India to get more yielding, and some are they are not only for high yielding, they are also improved for high resistance towards the pathogens or insect pests. Understood? So before going to discuss about that, we better to discuss little bit about that objectives of green revolution. You please put the subheading objectives of green revolution. Objectives of green revolution. Objectives of green revolution. In that the first one is what it is? We have to increase of reliance of food production, and we have to increase the reliance of food security. Understood? And increasing more productivity and increasing employment and increasing income and increasing opportunities for all the people in the country. Understood? And giving support, financial support to all the people in the world through this employment what they given in the field of agriculture. Now what are the objectives? Clearly they are present in the green revolution once we see. So they are objectives of green revolution. It is a self-reliance in food production. Food production is the first objective. The second one is self-reliance in food security. Though we are producing food, if we are not giving proper security, what is the need? No. So that's why proper food security is also very important. The third one is increasing opportunities as employment, income, and give support to all the people in the country. You please note down all these are the basic very important objectives of green revolution. Now let us know something about the very important information what we have different HYV seeds for high yielding and resistance towards the pathogens and insect pests, and what are the varieties. So many varieties are there, but few varieties just we are discussing what they made through these two scientists and under the program Green Revolution. So this is the information about Green Revolution, but some more information, very important information we gathered about the scientists and their contributions in the form of new varieties or HYV seeds what they introduced into the world, and from the world what are the new varieties obtained from world into India by great scientist M.S. Swaminathan. Everything we discussed about, especially about the varieties. So many varieties they made of course, but the first variety what they made especially by great scientist Norman E. Borlaug about semi-dwarf variety of what it is wheat, semi-dwarf variety of wheat or semi-dwarf wheat variety. Later some other varieties they also made like semi-dwarf rice variety, and also different high yielding varieties in the maize, high yielding varieties of bajra, jowar, and also high yielding sugar cane plants also they are introducing with cross hybridization done in between two different kinds of varieties of sugar cane plants. Understood? Everything we discussed in the next lecture. So you please understand every concept and content what we discussed in the next class, in the next lecture. we are going to discuss about that very important information about green revolution, about different HYV seeds, how do they giving more yielding and what kinds of varieties they introduced into the field of agriculture in the world and in India. Understood?